Welcome to another video on Zen Life Insights. Today, we are diving deep into a topic that touches all of us, loneliness. It's something we all feel. No matter how many people are around us. You could be in a crowded room, surrounded by loved ones, and yet feel isolated, disconnected, or as if you're the only one truly existing. This can be incredibly painful. And if we don't know how to manage it, loneliness can become destructive. But what if I told you that the same loneliness that feels like a curse, the one that weighs us down, could actually be transformed into one of the greatest blessings in our life? So, how do we deal with loneliness? And how can we change it from a source of pain into something that serves us? Let's start by understanding where loneliness comes from. A common misconception is that loneliness is a result of being alone, or that it's caused by the absence of others. Many people believe that when someone leaves them, or when they are separated from their loved ones, that's when loneliness strikes. However, the Buddha teaches us that loneliness is not always about other people. In fact, it's often not about the external at all. Loneliness is rooted in our internal expectations, desires, and cravings. We feel lonely when our interactions with others don't match our expectations, or when we're not getting the connection we desire. This gap between what we want and what we're receiving creates that feeling of emptiness, or what the Buddha refers to as suffering. In Dhammapada verse 338, the Buddha compares our cravings to the roots of a tree. He says, just as a tree, though cut down, sprouts up again if its root remains uncut and firm, even so, until craving that lies dormant is rooted out, suffering springs up again and again. In simple terms, even if we try to remove suffering from our life, as long as the root cause, our desires and expectations, isn't uprooted, the suffering will return. This is the essence of why loneliness persists. Now, this is key. Loneliness is not something caused by others. It's caused by what we expect from others. If we base our happiness on the behavior of others, or on how well others meet our expectations, we set ourselves up for disappointment. This is where suffering comes from, the idea that our happiness depends on things we cannot control. So, how do we change our perspective and turn loneliness into a blessing? Let's take a look at a powerful example from the Buddha's life. Before his enlightenment, the Buddha was practicing a form of self-mortification, where he subjected his body to extreme suffering in search of liberation. Alongside him were 5 monks who believed that one day the Buddha would become enlightened, and they could follow him to enlightenment as well. However, when the Buddha decided to give up self-mortification because it was not leading him to enlightenment, these monks abandoned him. Feeling disillusioned, the Buddha was left alone in the jungle. But here's the profound part, he was not lonely. Though physically alone, he wasn't experiencing loneliness in the emotional sense. Why? Because the solitude gave him the opportunity to focus inward. He had time to meditate, reflect, and deepen his understanding of himself and the world. This teaches us a critical lesson. Loneliness can be an opportunity for self-reflection. It gives us space to connect with our inner selves, to discover who we really are, and to work on our own growth. When we're surrounded by others, it can be easy to lose sight of our true selves. But when we're alone, it's the perfect moment to cultivate self-love, self-compassion, and personal growth. Here's a real-world example. Have you ever noticed that after a breakup, or a period of being alone, you often experience a moment of clarity? Maybe it's the time you finally decide to focus on your personal goals, Pick up that hobby you've been putting off. Or take better care of your health. It's in these moments of solitude that we often realize how much potential we have to create a better life for ourselves. What can we do with this understanding of loneliness? Instead of letting loneliness be a burden, we can treat it as a gift. We can see it as an opportunity to ask ourselves important questions like, what do I truly want in life? What habits or values can I work on to improve myself? How can I be kinder to myself during this time? The more we focus inward, the more we build up our inner strengths. Loneliness becomes the fertile soil in which we can plant seeds of self-discovery, self-care, and personal transformation. It's in these moments of solitude that we can reflect on our actions, learn from our mistakes, and develop a better, more fulfilling life. In conclusion, remember that loneliness is not an enemy, but a powerful teacher. By shifting your perspective, you can turn loneliness into an opportunity for growth. So next time you feel lonely, rather than resisting it, embrace it. Use the time to focus on developing your inner values, practicing self-love, and building good habits. The more you understand loneliness this way, the more you will appreciate the strength it brings into your life. Thank you for watching. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment below about how you've turned loneliness into a blessing in your own life. Nam Buddhaya.